This is every location in machine games Wolfenstein explained, but before I continue, I want to note that I will be talking about these locations as before Blazkowicz woke up from his coma. So if I don't mention how Gibraltar Bridge was destroyed or how Area 52 was nuked, it's because BJ is still in a coma. Anyways, let's begin. Castle Wolfenstein is a gigantic and highly guarded castle located in the Bavarian Alps near annexed Austria. It was built in 946 on the order of King Otto and was eventually passed down to Helga von Schabs, a descendant of the king. Helga and the SS Paranormal Division eventually made the castle their archaeology and occult research center. The castle has mostly standard medieval interiors like the foyer, kitchen, halls, storage rooms, corridors, and library being one of the many rooms. Some rooms are decorated with paintings of queens, knights, kings, and ecclesiastics from the medieval times and sculptures of boars or King Otto. The Germans also added their taste to the decor, like eagles, pictures of German officers and German flags. The only fully modern part of the castle is the heavily fortified cable car station, which has many platforms, heavy machinery, and elevators to other rooms, and serves as the new main entrance to the castle. The old main entrance is used to transport supplies and prisoners through a canal to Wolfenstein Prison. The prison itself is a massive underground complex and guarded by super soldiers and Kampfhunde to make sure no one escapes. Near the castle is the village of Paderborn. It was established centuries after the construction of the castle, and residents of Paderborn can gaze at the monumental view. Wolfburg is another village located in the Bavarian Alps, but is much further away from the castle than Paderborn. However, what made this castle very important for the Allies was that it held the location of Deathshead's Compound. So, on March 16, 1946, Office of Secret Actions sent two of their agents, Blazkowicz and Wesley, to steal the folder that holds the compound's location from Helga von Schabs. Unfortunately for Wesley, he gets eaten by Rudy Jaeger's dog, but Blazkowicz is able to avenge Wesley by killing Rudy and Helga and escaping the castle with the folder. He also discovered King Otto's secret that Helga von Schabs had been trying to uncover. Hidden beneath the Wolfburg graveyard was a giant monstrosity called the Flesh Golem that had been imprisoned for centuries until Blazkowicz eventually killed it. Deathshead's Compound is an island base with the primary facility being a retrofitted medieval castle located off the coast of Germany, close to East Prussia. It was originally built by the Teutonic Order at the beginning of the 15th century. During the Second World War, Death's Head converted the castle into his research center. It's at this castle that Death's Head was able to develop the very first iterations of superweapons for the Germans, which began changing the tide of the war in favor of the Axis powers. Thanks to the efforts of Blazkowicz, the location of this compound was exposed, and the Allies were able to launch a massive assault in an attempt to kill Death's Head, destroy the compound, and cripple German military research. Unfortunately, the assault ends in failure, with the Allied forces wiped out and Death's Head escaping with his life. Able to continue on with his research, Death's Head continued developing weapons that would ultimately lead to the surrender of the Allies and total German world domination. Even after the war was over, Death's Head reinforced and upgraded the castle and continued on with his cruel and inhumane experiments and advanced weapons research. The Eisenpfeil is a wide-gauge, high-speed passenger rail network that connects Istanbul, Bucharest, Warsaw, Berlin, Budapest, and Zagreb. Shortly after the war, Berlin was reconstructed into Germania, in accordance with Mustache Man's vision of the world capital. With the abundance of uber concrete, Germania was entirely constructed with it. The most prominent building in this concrete hell is the Volkshalle, or People's Hall, a giant dome-shaped building. Seemingly devoid of any greenery and megaphones constantly spewing out propaganda onto the streets, it seems like the world capital is not the best place to live in. The city is also home to two other major buildings. The secret police headquarters is located just a few blocks from the Volkshalle. The headquarters contain the offices, command center, and interrogation rooms of the secret police. The building shares a rear parking lot with a hotel, as well as a number of other buildings. It's in this building that the secret police make sure that the residents of Germania, adhere to the German ideology through constant surveillance. The secret police also regularly ship in resistance members from Eisenwald Prison to brutally interrogate them and find out the whereabouts of the remaining resistance forces. Eisenwald Prison opened in 1949 and is one of the most infamous prisons in the German Empire. The prison holds the most hardcore criminals of the Reich, as well as political prisoners and remaining resistance members. Guards from Eisenwald Prison are known to be some of the cruelest, as they are employed based on a personality test. Those with sadistic tendencies and lack of empathy were viewed as fit for the Reich's correctional facilities. Panzerhunds also roam around the massive, wide corridors of the prison, making any escape attempt futile. An example being of a newspaper clipping stating the death of a prisoner held in Eisenwald by a Panzerhund after he attempted to escape from the prison. Those who were imprisoned in Eisenwald Prison for reasons other than serious crimes, such as political prisoners and resistance fighters, would be regularly escorted out of Zellenblock B and sent to the secret police headquarters, where they would be brutally interrogated for questioning before being sent back to Eisenwald, which would repeat until their demise. The Zellenblock B in question features the panopticon prison design, where cells are arranged in a circular pattern and a watchtower is placed in the middle to ensure constant surveillance. The people of London were beaten into submission after the London Monitor was brought in to squash the last remaining bits of resistance. After this, the occupation authorities leveled much of the central area of the city, poured asphalt over it, and erected a monumental building in its place. The London Nautica, which was created for advanced research in aviation and robotics technology, as well as being the transportation hub to other planetary colonies on the Moon or Venus. The London Nautica is a massive, intimidating building at the heart of what used to be downtown London. It is presumably built from uber concrete. The bridge extending outwards from the top of the building is used for spacecraft. Inside the lower levels of the tower, there is the Moon Dome, which was built to showcase the German expansion on the Moon to visitors. It has a topographically correct replica of the Moon spinning in the middle, and on the surface of the Moon is a miniature model of the German lunar base. In the upper levels of the London Nautica resides the Da'at Yichud laboratory. The facility is used to crack the secrets of Da'at Yichud artifacts, as well as designing and testing new prototypes of incredibly advanced technology like the laser craftwork. Lastly, the large hangar bay of the London Nautica is home to 3 working helicopter prototypes of Project Whisper. They are set on a helipad platform and are heavily guarded by soldiers and guard robots. After the capitulation of the Republic of China by German forces on July 8, 1948, the Great Wall of China was upgraded and reinforced presumably with uber concrete. Hundreds of powerful automatic flak cannons were installed along the wall, and elite German soldiers were stationed near it to guard against potential invaders from the Mongolian territories. A quick disclaimer: this is purely my speculation on what this location is, as the only mention of the Mongolian territories is found in a newspaper clipping. The newspaper states that the upgraded wall is to defend against invaders from Mongolian territories. The boring explanation could be that the Germans made this info up as an excuse to convert the Great Wall of China into a concrete monstrosity. However, the more compelling theory is that Mongolia is heavily defended with military technology more advanced than what the Germans have. The Da'at Yichud probably gave the Mongolians this technology as an effort to repel German forces. Camp Belica is a not-so-fun camp, if you know what I mean. It is located in northern Croatia and run by Irene Engel and Hans Winkel. Prisoners who arrive at the camp are either taken care of immediately upon arrival or selected for intensive labor and worked to death. The primary resource that the camp produces is uber concrete, made from limestone in the nearby area. Set Roth is also held at this camp and is the man who created the flawed concrete formula for the Germans, which causes the uber concrete to decay and develop mold after some time. The camp is extensively guarded by soldiers and Herr Faust, a large and heavily armored guard robot. The Gibraltar Bridge was finished and inaugurated on October 2, 1957. Structurally, it is entirely built with uber concrete and consists of 2 portions. The upper portion houses the double-laned land route for general use, while the underside of the bridge is a rail system used by the high-speed troop transport trains. The bridge is mostly occupied by military traffic to send troops to the South African front, but a few members of the upper echelons of German society cross the bridge for vacations or business trips. Yet again, this is purely my speculation. It seems like South Africa is the same case as the Mongolian Territories. The front line is heavily fortified, and the remaining resistance has access to advanced Deathshead technology, making it very hard for the Germans to break through even by 1960. The first German landed on the moon on July 21, 1951. 5 years later, the first lunar base would be built in 1956. Its name is Moon Base 1, and it is located in an ancient impact crater known as the Glimmer Bowl, an ever-evolving complex populated by military personnel, industrial workers, and scientists. It serves as the vital center of research for Germany alongside Deathshead Compound and London Nautica. The lunar base features several hangar bays for spacecraft and crew quarters to house personnel. The laboratories found on the base are used for advanced research projects and to also conduct experiments on human test subjects to create super soldiers. Besides scientific research, Lunar Base 1 also serves as a meeting place for the most senior members of the German High Command. The facility's war room is a large, trapezoid-shaped chamber with a circular table in the center, below a massive computerized map of planet Earth. From here, the high levels of the German military could monitor and discuss ongoing and possible strategies for maintaining stability and control worldwide. The nuclear codes are stored in this very room and could be printed and distributed to Kriegsmarine submarine captains and Luftwaffe bomber commanders when needed. Once the biggest city in the United States, it was destroyed on December 21, 1948, leading to the surrender of the United States and ending World War II in German victory. What remained of New York was a wasteland, uninhabitable due to the radiation caused by the bomb. Only a few sections of the city's vast underground network have survived relatively intact. On the surface, German soldiers regularly patrol the remains of Manhattan and analyze the radiation levels to one day rebuild the city into the German image. One of the many top-secret research facilities, located near Roswell, New Mexico, Area 52 was constructed near one of the Deathshead vaults that held anti-gravity technology. The U.S. military tried to develop weapons based on this technology to fight the Germans during the Second World War. But after the surrender of the U.S., the facility fell under German control and now use it to conduct experiments and further develop anti-gravity technology. The facility itself is a giant underground complex, fitted with giant elevator platforms, traverse multiple levels of the facility, train stations that connect to other research facilities, and in the middle is a huge nuclear reactor that powers the entire base. While spared the atomic bomb fate, the city has been changed beyond recognition, with towering buildings built out of uber concrete surrounding what had once been the National Mall. In addition, the Germans have heavily modified many of Washington, D.C.'s iconic landmarks, such as reinforcing the Washington Monument to make it taller, as well as replacing the iconic statue of Abraham Lincoln, seated in his titular memorial with a seated statue of Mustache Man. It is a massive base and consists of two parts: the upper part and lower part. The upper part is far above from the surface of Venus. It consists of hangar bays and living quarters for personnel stationed on the facility. The lower part, which is on the surface, is the research center where scientists work on a way to make Venus a habitable planet for the Germans. Upon the surrender of the U.S. in 1948, the Germans quickly occupied Los Angeles and destroyed Hollywood beyond recognition. They purged the previous culture of the classical studios and reformed the entertainment industry into their image. The Germans had constructed a massive skyscraper which they called the Media Tower, accompanied by a new cityscape and highways, all forged from uber concrete, Hollywood served to generate and distribute German propaganda across occupied North America. It is a Polish asylum established by Dr. Franciszek Oliwa in 1824 and is situated near the Baltic coast, not far from Deathshead Compound. It has been run by the Oliwa family for 3 generations. At the end of the Second World War, administrative control of the asylum fell under German authority. The current superintendent, Dr. Krzysztof Oliwa, can only helplessly watch as General Deathshead's men came to claim the asylum's patients for Deathshead's twisted human experiments. Blaskovich was taken to this asylum after a fisherman found him floating around in the water shortly after the failed assault on Deathshead Compound. He sat in a chair for 14 years in a vegetative state until eventually regaining his motor functions when the Germans came to shut down the facility.